Hey everyone. Hi. I am loving the vibe. Hi Key. I see it just went into the red. Adjust your volume as necessary, as always, I'm sure. So today it's chill lounge music. Again on Cafe Music BGM channel. I am loving the vibe, the ambiance, and I was laying in bed today and I was doing that thing I do sometimes. I was doing it a lot more regularly last month, but I'm gonna integrate it into my daily just habit, where I kind of sort of just lay there, and I'm like, I just wait for something to come. Sometimes I'll listen, um, and today it felt like something silently moving into place. And I've been in this vibe of like I kind of want to cry lately because there have been some things that I've wished for, I wanted internally, I guess, um, before I leave home and I go out on my own. And within the past few days, I guess I've experienced that kind of sort of release, I guess. Everything is good. I don't have to be here. And it's not that I was necessarily doing anything physically. Um, but yeah, it's really time to embark upon the next chapter, which is great. I love it. Alright, anyway. And my best friend came back. I'm excited to see him. Hopefully, I'll get to see him for a few days before my surgery. And then I'll come back, have that surgery, and then I'll be free. I'll be cleared to leave, right? Uh, but, he got to quarantine for a few days and then get the test, see if it come back negative, and stuff like that. So I'll hit him up. He's been out of the country lately. So something silently moving into place was the vibe today. So I'm gonna throw the dice and I'm gonna see what comes out. Also, I've been feeling that the energy of subtleties and subtle ties from one to another. And maybe I'll try to integrate that in as well. Alright. The number that came out is 2. 2 is the number that was on there before. This is Earth signs, right? No, it's not. This is fixed signs. Yeah, this is fixed signs. That's interesting. Mars just left Taurus. Scorpio. The moon is in Scorpio. Or it was in Scorpio. I think the moon is in Sag now. Uh, Aquarius has Saturn and Jupiter are still there. And what's the opposite of Aquarius? Leo? So there's not much in here, but we'll do it. I'll use the wild unknown. Excuse me. And we're just gonna take it as it comes. Ooh, and I need the SKT. I forgot how I do this, y'all. So also I'm gonna grab my phone real quick and be ready for the timestamps. Where are my glasses? Ooh, I hope I ain't crushing. They might be. Crushed. Okay. Pentacles. So I'm going to use the World card. And then I'll go for the majors today, because it's something silently moving into place. So for Scorpio, I'll use the Reaper. For Taurus, I'll use the Holy See. Aquarius is the Healer. And who do I keep forgetting? Leo. And Leo is the Force. How do I keep forgetting Leo? I did that last time too. I was like, Taurus is empty, Scorpio is empty, Aquarius is empty, and what's the opposite of Aquarius? Why can't I think of it? Oh yeah, Leo. Maybe Leo was the thing that's silently moving into place. Cut into the Seven of Cups with the Daughter of Pentacles at the bottom. It's an energy of options. Oh, and there's the Hierophant. Maybe there was a space of confusion, or there were a lot of options. And maybe you chose the one that you can actually build with. Or maybe you chose one that you can't, but you are committed to it anyway. That's that Taurian energy. With the key, with one key though. And Spirit is the other key. So it presents you the key of the Sun, which is Leo. Alright, fix this. And look, there's the Seven of Cups again. This time with the joyous one. Cut into the Demon, which is the double energy, with the Destroyer at the bottom of the deck. I love that energy, because Kali was physically incarnated to slay a demon whose blood would spawn more demons. So it's heavy detoxification energy. But there's a central, and now there's judgment, apocalypse with the Destroyer. But it's something that has many, many contacts. Bread of life with apocalypse. That's the whole new world after. Maybe not 100% free of corruption, but a lot better. But it's just for Kali not to lose herself in this, like she did the first time. Because the world will never let you forget. They don't talk about the good she did. It's just like, oh, Kali, like, she did. It's like she's more than that. But, you know, I don't know her personally, so I'm not going to say what she is or isn't, but I'll pull from the top, because that's how I'm feeling it today. Oh, Scorpio, Libra, and the Conservator, Sun and Capricorn. Archangel of Healing, the Scarlet Shield, and the Conservator. This Archangel of Healing has been coming out lately. It feels like Spirit is presenting us with something that once we heal into it, it's going to change how we think. It's going to change how we operate. It's going to masculinize some feminine spaces. And it's going to feminize some masculine spaces. It's going to set something back on track. It's going to rebalance it. Okay. Taurus, first one out. Who said that the bull don't finish the race? Oh, Leo. Aquarius. Oh, these are coming out pretty quickly. Let's see if now I'm forgetting the other one. Who is it? Scorpio. There's Scorpio. Okay. So we have the Vagabond. No, the Grotesque, 5 of Chalices with the Archangel of Mysteries, Taurus energy. So we started with Scorpio, we end with Taurus. I love that polarity. I remember, so Taurus can be kind of like the seagulls from Finding Nemo type of energy, like mine. It's like Taurus is like self possessions, Scorpio is community possessions. And I got a lot of Taurus in my chart, and I had a Scorpio roommate. And one day I found out he was eating my food. I was like, boy, what are you doing? And then he was like, oh, Pat, like, I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. And I was like, man, I got like, it was some ramen noodles at that point. I think I stopped working by that point, and I was on my own little journey thing at that point. Yeah, I was on my little journey thing at that point, so I didn't have a lot of food. And but I had an older pack of noodles, and I was like, but I had switched them because I was eating the newer pack. And he was like, oh, but you know, they was old or whatever, so I assumed that blah 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 whatever. And I was like, oh, as long as you eating the older ones, that's fine. But then I found out he was eating my fresh noodles. I'm like, oh my gosh. He never did buy me another box of noodles, even though they like what, $2 maybe. Never did happen. But then we after that year I went back on campus and he lived with somebody else, and I went over and he offered me like a water, but it was his roommate's water. I'm like, oh my gosh, so you really just out here, everything is just like community to you. And he was like, well, I know who they belong to. I'm like, yeah, but like, you know, you didn't buy them. So, but to be fair, there was quite a bit of stuff. Like when we moved in, like when I moved in, I was the first person of the new people who moved into that apartment. And there was stuff already there. Like the freezer was already packed and the fridge was already pretty full. Another new guy moved in when I moved in. The two dudes who were already there moved out, and all the stuff was still there. And so when people moved in after, I was like, well, you know, I'm the person who moved in the first out of us living here, and that stuff was already there when I got here. So to be fair, maybe he thought it was up for grabs. Anyway, I don't know why. And look, here's some more Scorpio, Mars and Scorpio, and then Archangel of Mysteries. So this is going to be the thing silently. Oh wait, I don't have the world card yet. I was about to shut it down. There it is. Okay, thank you. Into the Eight of Wands. So we move from the grotesque into the Eight of Wands. It's like as soon as or as quick as you can accept yourself and turn your perspective around, that's as quick as things can change for you. Things silently moving into place, an energy of you've already established the foundation for this. You've prepared yourself in ways that you didn't know that you prepared yourself. So as soon as you're open to it, the universe can really begin to move. How am I doing this today? I'm going to shuffle up and pull the card before and after the Hierophant. And then the card before and after the Strength, and then the Star, and then Death. Ooh, cutting to Judgment and the Three of Pentacles. I just saw Judgment, Apocalypse. It came out with the Ace of Pentacles, and it also came out with the Ten of Swords. And so this is making a call on sort of who or what is worthy of your energy to the point of collaboration, because we're coming into a space of building forward into the future. Actually, I'm just going to pull from the bottom since I got a lot of these to do. Or I could do them one by one. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to shuffle these up again since I already looked at the cards on the bottom. And I'm going to do these one by one. Now the Moon and the Nine of Pentacles. I think that's it's that energy of establishing a foundation and you didn't even know you were doing it. Now the Star is with the Moon. But it's going to come into view. It's not going to be necessarily all at once. But as it's happening, you'll know that this is something that you've been prepared for and preparing for. something that's going to take you to the next level, that will ultimately lead to the fulfillment of whatever it is you desire on a level that you would not have necessarily expected. You're going to be getting more than what you've bargained for in a good way. So, Taurus, that ends the general-ish part of this. Now we're actually getting into this. I've just shuffled it up. I guess there's an energy today of something silently moving into place. So I've shuffled the deck. I'm going to look before and after the Hierophant. I have the significators from the Spirit Keeper's Tarot on the table. Fixed signs today. Saturnian energy. I'll do the general message at the end for this. Number 2, this could be something that's carrying over from last month, 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 2 years ago. I don't know. It feels like the number 2 is significant though for some reason. Listening to some chill lounge music on the Cafe Music BGM channel. I am definitely digging the jazz lounge vibes. But let's get into this, Taurus. So immediately the Moon card, Piscean energy, the Four of Swords, Aquarian, and the Star. Actually, the Four of Swords is Libran, but since I said Aquarius, let's take it with an Aquarian sort of type of vibe. What's Aquarian about this is the sheep. The sheep now isn't what the sheep used to be. There's an energy of something that was disregarded or seen as weak in the past, coming into a space where its value is truly going to shine. And it reminds me, I saw a Sadhguru video lately, and he said, you know, for a while it was about muscles and physical labor. And so men, as the hardier, more muscly, typically, gender, I guess, or sex. I know there's a difference. I'm low-key ignorant. It's fine. I just try to be respectful of people. Gender is the construct. It's generated and created. Sex is like biological. So, at one point, gender and sex weren't necessarily separate. Now they are. And practically, they've always been separated because there's always been people who lived outside the box, right? There's always been people born as male who weren't interested in stereotypically male things, and people born as female who weren't interested in stereotypically female things. But anyway, back to the video. He said that there was a point in time where things were a lot more physical, but now everything is a lot more electronic and digital. And so muscles aren't as important as they used to be. So now we're coming into a space where we can prioritize other things, or where other people are allowed to shine. It also reminds me of an anime I'm watching. And there's a really smart dude, and then there's a really, really strong dude, and they're at odds. And of course, you know, the smart dude has to rely on science to not get killed. But there's this one dude who's like, I bet in your world, because it's like this future past thing. It's apocalyptic. But he's like, you know, I bet in your time, in the age of technology, then like there's no use for people with muscles. And he was like, that's not true. Like, it takes all kinds of people to make the world work. And it's this energy for Taurus. It takes all kinds of people to make the world work. Maybe you didn't see what you have to contribute then, or you weren't valued then, but you will be soon. And there's this 46 energy here, because it's VI, IV, VI. And the 18, the 4, and the 17. 4 and 6 is 10, which is completion. And a new beginning. So there will be things from the past for you to take with you, for you to build off of. You haven't experienced the life that you've experienced for no reason. So don't be so quick to discard all of it as you move forward, because some of it is going to be necessary. And with these swords pointed at the sheep, it may be something related to some of the hardships that you've experienced. But you working through them is going to give you some kind of edge, some kind of advantage in whatever it is that you're meant to do next, or however it is that you move forward. That healing is going to be the key to making your dreams come true. So now we're going to keep going until we see the Hierophant, the crow with the key. Ooh, Four of Wands into the Sun, into the Eight of Cups, into the Father of Wands. You had to leave it all behind. The Hermit, the Empress, and Justice. Okay, I see you, mages. Mother of Pentacles and the Father of Pentacles together with the Nine of Wands and the Emperor. Not easy, but the Six of Pentacles comes after. With the Daughter of Pentacles, the Tower, and the Ten of Cups, and the Ace of Swords. With the Mother of Swords, you're going to know exactly why you struggled, or exactly why you hurt, or exactly why you took the path that you took. Because it's going to perfectly position you to accept something that is going to be your wish fulfillment in so many ways. Not only to accept it, but to show up and work with it, to build with it in a way that you wouldn't have been capable of if you didn't do that. Oh, here's the High Priestess. So you probably already knew that, low-key. I guess I'll turn this up right. So you're sitting between the High Priestess and the Five of Wands, Taurus. Bottom of the deck is the Son of Pentacles. We already saw the Mother and the Father together. I'm feeling King and Queen energy lately as... Well, let's see what's under this. The Seven of Cups, and the World was right there. Kings and Queens are equals. They just have different positions. So I hold them both at the 13. And then the major corresponding to either energy would be the 14, which is like a more, I don't want to say cosmic or celestial, but a larger picture mastery of that energy, of that element. Now, the Son of Pentacles is someone who is on their way to kingship or queenship. We saw the King and the Queen, the Father and the Mother of Pentacles together as I was going through this. And I think I talked earlier about masculinizing feminine spaces and feminizing masculine spaces. So there's an energy of rebalance within you. Maybe some experiences, or just the way you are, made you, it's like you're a little rough, or a little, not crass, a little coarse. And you've had experience in the past maybe, or you've chosen things that didn't work out to the point, or that did work out to the point of like sanding you down, making you smooth like sandpaper. So it wasn't necessarily extremely difficult, but it was very, very abrasive. But at the end of the day, it smoothed you out. I think with this High Priestess, I think Taurus is a practically intuitive sign. It can it can in excess lead to a little bit of closed-mindedness, a little bit. But it's like Taurus sort of intuitively knows what it'll find comfort and pleasure in. And so it's naturally sort of drawn to those things. Maybe with this Seven of Cups, there were things that you chose not to experience, or things that you chose not to do. But moving forward with the Son of Wands there, this is like a new lease on life, a new burst of passion. And so you're going to begin to, or it's a desire to want to experience more and more of life. I see all these stars in the World card, and it reminds me of Aquarius. I mean, the world is the significator here. The world was under the Seven of Cups. Let me get that right. But in the Seven of Cups, only one cup faces the sun. This also reminds me of the rune Manaz, maybe? I'm gonna look at it. I'm not super knowledgeable when it comes to runes. Always take it as it resonates. Take it with a grain of salt, and then build the rest within yourself. Manaz rune. Or not. Thank you. No, it's not Manaz, because Manaz has the cross. But it's one of them. Oh, come on. What is this? And I literally just saw it. I'll look for it real quick and see if I can find it. Oh, perfect. Number 19. What is it though? Give me a name. Here it is. Ewas. It's horse, wheel, or luck. Look at that. And there's Menas, which is man and human. So there we go. It's the E and the M. It's interesting, but you know, I play this word game, and you can rotate letters, and if you rotate the E, it's an M. So there it is. Horse, wheel, and luck. Okay. Hey Siri, when is the next year of the horse?
It's Saturday, January 1st, 2022, New Year's Day.
What? Is next year the year of the horse? It can't be January 1st, though. Are we having a... No, because that's not Aquarius season. 1 second. ...2026 is the next year of the horse. Okay. It occupies the 7th position in the Chinese zodiac after the snake and before the goat. The last one was 2014, 2002, 1990, 78, 66, 54, 42, 30. Maybe 2002 was significant in some way because the 2's here. How old was I in 2002? Like 9? Anyway. Horse is also a Sagittarian energy. Okay, let me try to reel this in a little bit because I ain't necessarily trying to be on here all day. But that's that rune here. But maybe you were feeling like your luck was going down the drain. The horse is chariot energy. So maybe there was a certain element of passivity in the past. And that's why the Son of Wands is looking over at the Son of Pentacles. But the Son of Pentacles, his head is down, and it looks like he's in a little bit of a defensive position. So maybe like procrastination, laziness, maybe you were too interested in being comfortable to the point that you weren't doing things that you needed to do. And so what it did was, it's like you were in an Empress energy, maybe where you manifested opportunities, but you never took them. And so down here, with the High Priestess and the Five of Wands, it feels like there's a little bit of an energy of maybe there was a time and a place where you would have this feeling that something was for you. Because again, Taurus kind of sort of intuitively knows when something is for them or when something is like good or nice or comfortable. They can just tell. It's that Venusian sense. Like my expensive senses are tingling. My extravagance bone is aching. There must be something exquisite nearby. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. But with the Five of Wands, it's like it would never work out. Taurus, you were the missing piece. And maybe you're the one that's silently moving into position. And the more focus and determination, the more you're able to sacrifice in the moment to get what you want long term. I think you'll actually begin to enjoy it. I think that's a little bit of what this World card is sort of giving to. I think it may also be a closing to a certain period of selective productivity or procrastination or laziness. I think you may find something that you actually enjoy, like really enjoy doing, that also serves to provide you some kind of stability. You may be a little confused. Also, here's a 5. Here's a 5. 2 and 5 is a 7. 7 of Cups. So there is a little bit of divine detour type of energy, but they weren't detours because you weren't really going anywhere at that point. With the High Priestess and the 5 of Wands, though, it feels like your next step is a puzzle, or what you're silently moving into place for. You've been prepared for it or preparing for it in many ways, as I've said. And so it's going to be something that takes all of that into account. It's a space where these 5 wands are organized and they're not chaotic. You may be thinking on your next move. What's under the Sun of Pentacles? There's the Chariot. There's the Horse. Okay. Yeah. And I think the two things that needed to come in line is... And look, there's another 7 too. The two things that needed to come in line was the Sun of Pentacles and the Son of Wands. I did that a while ago. It was the Knight of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the Chariot in the Tarot Apocalypses. And it was like the Prince of Wands and the Prince of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, were hitched together with the Chariot and moving forward. But at one point, or at some point, the King of Pentacles, or the Knight of Pentacles, elevated itself to the King of Pentacles. But the Knight of Wands hadn't yet elevated to the King of Wands. And so it created some disharmony there because it wasn't balanced. And I think, I don't know if I said it, but there was a little bit of an energy of going back to something with this cut pointing down towards the sun. Maybe, again, it plays off of that energy of like you already have all of the pieces for what it is that you're moving forward to. Maybe the Knight of Pentacles, his head is down because usually he's careful enough, I guess, to not have to go back. It's like, man, I can't be the slowest knight and have to go back. And so there may be a question of pride here. Maybe this is the Knight of Pentacles, Son of Pentacles dropping its ego when it comes to this Son of Wands. Maybe it's something that you felt like you should have done or did right the first time or put more energy and effort into the first time, but it disturbed your peace or whatever. Again, though, with the High Priestess, it feels like there was a little bit of an element of knowing here, but for some reason it just wasn't working out. I don't think in that time it was supposed to, but I think since that time, either you've seen the lessons or you've learned more lessons. You've grown and evolved and changed in some ways now. I want to look at what's around the Father of Wands and the Father of Pentacles. I think I've seen both of them. I'm pretty sure I've seen both of them. So yeah, maybe you had to soften up, and for you, so Mother of Pentacles, Nine of Wands, around the Father of Pentacles, Eight of Cups, and the Hermit around the Father of Wands. I don't think this is something that you would have discovered had you stayed there in the first place. And I think you've really had to soften up in some ways. Maybe this is also a Taurian energy that wasn't too keen on doing things for other people, or not really showing up for other people. Like, as long as it was a minor inconvenience, then sure. There's also something here about learning to express care or compassion in a way that people can feel it. Like they actually know that you care about them. Because maybe that caused some unnecessary strain in some relationships. Or like, even if you were like, if you had a job, like maybe you're the like that 9 to 5 person. Like, when I'm on the clock, I'm on the clock. When I'm off the clock, I'm home. Unless y'all paying me overtime and I feel like working it. Otherwise, I'm going home. But maybe someone thought that you weren't like fully committed because you weren't willing to put in overtime without pay or whatever. I don't know who I'm reading for. There's a little bit of an energy of misunderstanding here. Distance was required to see this. Distance was also required for you to learn the things that you still needed to learn. So I'm going to leave the High Priestess out and the Five of Wands out. There's the Eight of Wands. Where was that at? Because here's the 9. The 8 and the 9, it's like a stop and go type of energy. But eventually, I think you're going to reach that breakthrough with the King and the Queen, Mother and Father of Pentacles here. I think it's the Mother and Father because there's an internal stability and resourcefulness and abundance that you're establishing, as well as an external one. And look, just cut to the 10 of Pentacles with the 8 of Wands at the bottom. It's gonna turn out beautifully, and you were prepared for this. I think all of the keys, 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, I'm loving it. All of the keys you've acquired along the way. You're gonna be figuring out how they all work together. 8 of the Pentacles. I think the 8 of Pentacles, it gives an energy of longevity to the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Wands. It's something that'll last. So that's what I got for you, Taurus. I hope you have a good whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality and to make your dreams come true. Because, oh my gosh, I didn't even look at the thing. Can y'all even see this? Hold up. Can y'all even see these? Ooh, well, you can now. Oh, maybe. Oh gosh. Let's condense this a little bit. Well, Taurus, y'all got the High Priestess, so y'all already know. So I don't feel too big. I'm just playing. And it's 2:25 right now on the clock. That 2s and 5s. No, it's 2:26 now. 25 right here. It's a 7. It's a number of spiritual awakenings. But with the High Priestess, it's like you have some information and some knowledge, but with that 5 of Wands, you just don't know how to apply it. Don't hyper focus on that. Just live life and you'll find where it fits. It was. You was. Okay. So, Leo. Why did that Don't You Forget About Me song pop into my mind? Maybe it popped into my mind because I kept forgetting about Leo. Don't you forget about me. Please? Like, I'm Leo. I'm the sun. How can you forget me? How can you forget me? Oh, look, there's the World card and the 6 of Wands. Okay, come through. I'm loving that energy for Leo. Six of Wands is the third decan of Leo energy. Second decan of Leo, it's the heart of Leo. Sorry. But now the Seven of Pentacles is there. When in Easy A, was his name Todd? And Emma Stone, Olivia, I think that was her name. They called her Olive, right? And she was like, I fake rocked your world. Like that I fake rocked your world energy just came in after that Don't You Forget About Me. Also, she was walking on sunshine. So maybe for Leo was feeling forgotten. But then with that I fake rocked your world, maybe you felt some type of way because you felt forgotten. And there was a period of mourning and grief. But then if you take a step back, or if you live enough life and then you look back in the past, it's like whatever that was, it didn't have much substance anyway. And once you realize kind of sort of how void it was, then going into that I'm walking on sunshine, it puts you back in your energy, first of all. But it also puts you in a space of attracting and manifesting circumstances of substance that aren't as empty and void as it was before. Because maybe it was rocking your world, but it was all illusionary. It wasn't real. It was a show. It was a performance. That Todd had Olivia. No, Todd was the dude that she liked. Whatever his name. I think it started with a B. Maybe it was Brandon. That reminds me of Unbreakable. He was like, let me guess. Brandon? He was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Anyway. But again, that was another show. That was another performance. It was the same. So Brandon and Olivia, he was like, I'm tired of getting bullied and teased for being gay. Like, can you please just like sleep with me? And she was like, ew. And he was like, ew, like not for real. Like, we just pretend like we did. And he did that. She did that for him. He stopped getting teased for a minute. Maybe he got bullied again because, illusions. But she had to carry the stigma then of someone who was like, a slut. And she had that A that she put on her chest for adulterer. And it was a shout out to The Scarlet Letter with Hester Prynne. And oh, I just got it. I fake rocked your world. Where did it go? Brandon. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. That was also, he was a gay dude who ended up marrying a woman, but he did that out of pity, not because there was actual love there. And she was like, don't you think I know that? Like, I already knew that, but I'm happy. Can't you just be happy for me? So again, there's this it's an energy of a show, of a performance, of something done for someone else, maybe out of pity, but that only lasts for so long. And maybe you felt the pain of that separation for a minute, or that letdown, but again, with the Seven of Cups at the bottom of the deck, I think you're reaching the spot, that cup pointing towards the sun. Again, that Ewas rune, which is the horse, the wheel, and luck. The wheel of fortune is going to spin and turn in your favor, because now you're coming into a position of wanting something of substance. So it's not going to be those empty void things that you used to experience or that you were so attached to. But at that point, it's sort of what you had. Shout out to Taurus and Leo for bringing out the heavy fives. I mean, all of the fives are heavy in tarot, aren't they? I wonder if everyone's going to get a 5 today. 5 of Swords, though. It's this energy of like, it kind of sort of still hurts, though. Even if you recognize it, it still hurts, because it was what it was at that point. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing, Leo, there's this energy of things silently moving into place right now. And so I'm giving this some shuffles. I'm going to look before and after the Strength card. You got 6 of Swords between the 5 of Swords and the Knight of Swords. What I love about this is that this Knight of Swords is heading back into the fray. The Five of Swords is a card of Pyrrhic victories. Maybe you lost in the past, or maybe you won, but you sacrificed too much. Now it's something that you don't really like to revisit, but your way out of this with the overall Six of Swords energy is to go back through it. Not to go back through it to experience necessarily the pain and the hurt of when you were there, but to go back through it as you are now with this Knight of Swords, knowing what you know now, carrying what you know now, how you've changed, and revisiting that situation. You're going to see it with whole new eyes. It's going to turn from like I rocked your, or like you rocked my world, to that like you fake rocked my world type of energy. And now I'm walking on sunshine. I'm loving that for Leo. Three of Swords, Five of Pentacles, and the Son of Wands. Oh, Leo, you got two of the fives. The Three of Swords into the Five of Pentacles. Again, I think this is everything that I just said. There was a period of hurt and betrayal. There was the period of grieving after. But then with that Son of Wands, there's a revitalization within you to the point that you realize that what you had before, maybe for who you were at that time, it served a purpose. But for who you are now and for who you're coming into, it's like you require more. Maybe more than that would have been able to give you. And so in some ways, it was destined to kind of sort of fall apart anyway. There's that Six of Wands, victory, and the Two of Cups. You're going to find someone who can be your today, your tomorrow, your forever. Instead of, again, but I think it's all predicated and based upon you coming into yourself more fully and attracting from that space. Mother of Swords, she's wiser now. Alright, we're looking for strength. Oh, we got the Devil. The Devil, the Hangman, Judgment, and the Eight of Swords. Again, there's this energy, a little bit of an energy of like, yeah, like I get it, but I still can't break free. Eight of Swords, Two of Swords. Every time, like they're coming out together, it's a choice, it's a decision. Both the Eight of Swords and the Two of Swords are blind, but only one of them is bound, and it's the Eight of Swords. Once you make that decision and allow that illusion to fall, once you see it for what it is, it's not that it removes all of your pain, but it's like, wow, like that wasn't really that good for me anyway, so how upset can I be? And if I think about it, to imagine myself still being in that situation, I would have missed out on the healing and the progress that I've made since then. And in a lot of ways, I still would have been trapped in something that I don't know if I ever would have broken free of. Sometimes the divine helps us in ways that we're not in a position to understand or appreciate. Emperor and the Empress and Justice. Nine of Swords into the Six of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. Maybe you've seen better. Maybe you've experienced better since then. Maybe you were still dealing with the past and living that shade and shadow of the past. And you want to come back into the light, but maybe there's some apologies to be had. I don't know. Into the Death card, into the World, into the Ace of Swords. If it doesn't work out, if you do get rejected, I don't think it's the acceptance or the rejection that's the most important right now. I think what's the most important is for you to realize and recognize how your past has caused you to be who you have been. And if there are spaces where you have been wrong, to go back and to make amends. And again, if it's accepted, it's accepted. If it's not, it's not. It's not about the other person. It's about you and what you deserve. And self-love is you sometimes biting the bullet, is you sometimes letting your ego go to go back to a space of something that was good or something that was right or something that was for you at that time. And just to set the record straight, and again, it's not so much for the other person as it is for you, because that's going to be what really closes out those chapters, and it leads to even more insight afterwards. But it's like, it's insight that you don't get until you make those choices with the Two of Swords and you follow through on them, because then they play out in ways that it's just like, oh, you know. Daughter of Swords. And I know it's new. It can be scary. But Eight of Cups into the Six of Swords. I love this. Walking away and selling on to brighter tomorrows. That's what's available to you. And the Ten of Cups. What? With the Hermit and the Three of Pentacles and the Mother of Pentacles. After that, walking away, sailing towards the Ten of Cups. You know how I said it's an act of self-love? I think you're really going to experience a boom in self with that Hermit. It's going to bring light to some dark spaces within you that puts you in a position to show up and be all of that magnificent, solar, warm Leo energy, that like big cuddly cat energy. Maybe you still want to hold on to the crown of the king of the jungle, so you still roar and flex your little claws or whatever, but you know, you still are a big cuddly cat. And I think it's that big cuddly cat that you need to show more of that's really going to put you in a position of being able to establish whatever legacy you're going to establish. It's a legacy of love, though, or it's born out of love. But it's also for you to still be that king of the jungle when you need to be. It's you learning how to be all of you, and not just the parts of you that you think someone else will love or like. Because when you did that, it was kind of empty, wasn't it? And here's the Strength card. So, Three of Pentacles and the Hermit. It's a card of collaboration for you. With the Ten of Cups right there. So it's about collaboration for you, but it's also about authenticity. And then you have the Father of Cups. Bottom of the deck is the Four of Cups. So there may be an energy of revisiting something. I don't think this is necessarily you revisiting something or a situation in which you were wronged. It feels more like you revisiting something in which you wronged something or someone else because of what happened to you. With the Ten of Cups and the Hermit, you've been working on your self-love. Now going into that Three of Pentacles, you can bring something to the table that you weren't able to bring before. And maybe that's what this heading back into the fray is. Because, you know, we still have the Five of Swords and the Knight of Swords. After going through this, you've realized some things. And it's not that you necessarily owe an apology to anybody. And it's not that they necessarily deserve to hear your side of things. But I think you owe it to yourself. Again, it's like you're doing it for you. And maybe you do want an outcome where you're not rejected. Maybe, again, it's like you're not necessarily trying to go back to something. You just want to explain your side of it when you were there. But this is all about what you do for you. The Father of Cups is a little bit of he's the black swan, right? So that's that black sheep energy. I felt that for the second pile, I think, on the Sun, Moon, and Rising. For the Pride Tarot. And I know the Ten of Wands also came out there. So it's a journey that is a little bit difficult, or a lot difficult, and you don't necessarily find too much love or acceptance. But there's a divine reason and a divine purpose behind why you went through that. So again, like Taurus, Leo, for you it feels like what's silently moving into, maybe not. It feels like you are silently moving into place. Not in the way that Taurus was. But on your side, it feels more like tying up loose ends or resolving things that weren't resolved. And sometimes you can experience something with one person, which causes you to act a certain way with another. And person could be situation. And you get closure from the first one by how you show up in the second one, by you giving what you didn't get the first time, or you being better than someone was to you. And maybe too, that's what this Knight of Swords, going back to that Five of Swords, is. That's you finding a way to give yourself closure. Because moving forward, if you continue to carry whatever this is, there's an energy of like you continuing to miss out on opportunities, and there's an energy here that's kind of bubonic, right? The Black Plague, it sort of spreads, and there's no real cure, and it infects anything that it touches. And so what it's done is it's caused entire cities within your country or state or world internally to be shut down. Cities that may hold some good memories, cities that may hold some not so great memories. But the solution isn't to pretend like it didn't happen and to keep trucking along, because if you do that, you're going to lose more and more and more of yourself, and you've probably experienced that. That's probably why you showed up the way you did the second time. Why you became someone who did something to somebody, or someone who showed up in the way that you showed up. But with these two cards, I'm getting self-love and love for others. This is the love for others. This is the love of self. And you're going to come into a space of accepting yourself fully for all that you are with the Black Swan. But that Black Swan is a father. So he's done it. I feel like you sort of started in that big-hearted Leo space, maybe where you wanted to do everything for everybody. Maybe you got burned. Maybe you were too nice, too giving. Maybe you got too close to some people that maybe were only out to really use you. And so it caused you to withdraw. But moving forward, it's going to require you to collaborate and to be open. Everything is a process. Nothing is necessarily immediate. But it's that openness that's important. And I think I would say more probably the Queen of Wands. Like stereotypical gender normie roly. But there is a masculine element to this queen, this Mother of Pentacles. And then, of course, there's a feminine element to the Father of Cups. Going back to that masculinizing feminine spaces and feminizing masculine spaces. And I'm getting an energy of like, it's not necessarily about status, but there is an energy of wanting to present yourself in a certain way. But to do that fully, first you must honor yourself. In all the ways it looks like. What's that song? Not too proud to beg for your sympathy. That's what I do because you mean that much to me, or something. There's like, not only does something or someone else mean that much to you, but you also mean that much to yourself. And that's something that I've experienced in my own personal life a lot, especially within the last few years, that I'm not too proud or too set in my ways or too opposed to apologizing or appearing in whatever way to miss out on something that could make me really happy, or to miss out on something that's going to progress my life forward, or to miss out on anything. I'm not too proud to admit that I was wrong or that I could have handled something better. But I've also come from what I've come from. And I've been in a position of undoing for 2 years now. More consciously for 2 years now. And they say the 12th house is the house of undoing, but maybe we can do some undoing in a good way. Undoing the toxic, right? And return to the purity of self. That's what I got for you, Leo. All the best. I'm not necessarily, part of me sometimes like wishes I could give more, but also part of me is like, you live life and you experience life and it plays out how it plays out. It's not necessarily Six of Swords. Moving on from this pattern of rejecting. And those are some pretty dark emotions with that Black Moon and the Four of Cups. It's a reservation out of pain, not for any necessarily wise reason. Necessarily. But look, there's the sun with the Two of Cups! I'm telling you, when you're in your light, radiant, magnetic, you draw everything in to you. Don't let anything drag you back into the darkness. Keep moving forward. It doesn't matter how slow your progress is. Because everything orbits around the sun anyway, right? But anyway, like I was saying, it isn't necessarily to always give a resolution. It's something for you to think about and contemplate within yourself. And then to have spirit work with you to flesh this out and to illuminate it even more. And some painful things may come up. But if you work through them, it puts you in a space to really genuinely attract those who will love and accept you fully for who you are, where you don't have to put on a show and a performance. Now, if you want to get on stage and be creative or do whatever, you can, but where your personal life isn't a show or for the cameras. Like, that's your personal life. That's your heart, right? Temperance. Temperance speaks to fire and water. So this may be one of those things where opposites kind of attract to balance you out a little bit. I don't know. All right, Leo. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you have a better whatever soon. And I hope you're acting in alignment to make that which you wish to experience your reality. I hope you get to see that what you've experienced in life is by no means an indicator or indicative of what you deserve or what you're capable of experiencing. Next is Aquarius. Aquarius. 10250 ish. 10255. Aqua. Aquarius. Hey, Aquarius. So I woke up today. I was in my bed. I thought a little bit. I was like, what today felt like? And it was kind of quiet, but there was a little bit of something. And it felt like something silently moving into place. There's been an energy lately of us preparing for and setting the foundation for things that we weren't necessarily consciously doing. So there are going to be some things that pop up that we have set in motion in some ways, or that have been set in motion in some ways, that we are positioned to receive. We just didn't know. It's like, I didn't know why I was doing this. Well, they say that the divine works in mysterious ways, don't they? You were doing A, B, C, and D, and you're about to receive F, N, P, Q, Z, R, Y, T, U, F. Did I already say F? Maybe more F's, and maybe you'll be F'ing a lot. Sorry. Maybe it's going to be the rains that end a dry spell. Who knows, Aquarius? But let's get into it. So I use the Spirit Keeper Tarot to set down significators. Yours is, of course, the Star, the Healer. The World card is there. New World Order for the fixed signs. I'm doing fixed signs today. I've shuffled this. I'm going to shuffle it a little more. Bottom of the deck is Strength. We just did Leo. But I'm going to be looking for the Star for you. Cutting to the Four of Cups and Strength. I just got these for Leo. But for you, your energy feels a little Sagittarian in nature, in that it can be a little detached or aloof. Maybe you didn't want to form any significant bonds. Maybe you thought you were being strong by not. but you're going to be asked to be stronger by being open and available. But maybe not, you know? I'll give these a few shuffles and we'll see. Ooh, there's that Hierophant. Of course, Taurus got the Hierophant. I think Aquarius did this in another reading. Or everything was referencing Aquarius, or Aquarius was just popping up, referencing everybody else. Ten of Swords with that Hierophant. Maybe it was the end of a commitment, and that's why you don't really want to get into another one. But before we're so quick to be done with something completely and totally, sometimes I say let's look at our experience in that situation, right? Not all pies are necessarily bad. Maybe you just kept going to somebody who can't bake, or whose pies are like overdone or underdone. But, you know, all you've experienced is underdone or overdone pies. You only have to have one pie. Okay, maybe you gotta have, if you have one pie, you think it's special. If you have 10 more pies, then you realize that the pie place that you were going to before just didn't make great pies. But you gotta be strong enough to try. Potentially. I don't know what this is about, Aquarius. I'll give this 2 more, and then I'll cut it in half. Oops. And then we're gonna go looking for the star. Father of Swords, Aquarian energy, nice. The 3 of Wands, and the 3 of Pentacles. This feels like a strong-minded, strong-willed Aquarius who has never too much lost sight of who they were. But maybe they overly prioritized their independence or individuality to the point where they weren't able to fully collaborate and connect with others. So again, there's a little bit of an energy potentially of, it's not compromising yourself, but when you're in a collaborative space, it's not necessarily going to be 100% you. Maybe there's also a need to accept others and their individuality, even if it doesn't conform to your own. So what I see this garnering and fostering within Aquarius is an appreciation for other unique individuals, but who are unique in their own way, not necessarily unique in the same way. And it's a recognition that if you come together, you can make something like really, really good, or something even better. It's like if you have somebody from all 4 corners of the planet and they come to an agreement on something, they're going to create something that most everyone can sort of enjoy. And that's kind of sort of the energy that we're heading into. But it is going to require you to, again, maintain that perspective that only you have, or to do the things that only you can do with this 3 of Wands. And then the Death card. This may be really big for you. It may be a big transformation for you, or a big change for you. Or maybe it's like either you could be completely yourself and be withdrawn, or like anytime you tried to do something with somebody else, you kind of sort of ended up losing yourself. And so now you're needing to hold and maintain the balance. And that might be what the transformation is. Sometimes we can really take on the habits of the people that we're around. Not necessarily consciously, but it just kind of sort of happens. But this is you learning to maintain yourself and be with others. Or to be with others while not losing yourself. The 8 of Swords into the 9 of Swords into the 6 of Pentacles. What I like about this is there's an energy here of being trapped, of not liking what you're seeing, but with the 6 of Pentacles, it's a recognition that maybe there's something that you've been running from. But once you recognize that, you can correct for it. Ace of Cups, you can fix it. With the Magician. Okay, I haven't seen the Ace of Cups or the Magician yet. With the Tower into the 4 of Swords and the 9 of Pentacles. With the 8 of Pentacles and the Father of Pentacles. So taking a step back and not being so extremely you-centric is really going to benefit you moving forward. With that 8 of Pentacles, again, going back to that collaborative energy that came out with the 3 before, it's about working in teams. And the better you get at it, the more you're able to kind of sort of drop your guard and to be more of a collaborative component. And it's like if other people are competent, they stress less. It's a whole new experience for you. The moon, the emperor, and the father of wands. I think it's going to lead you to be even more established than you think. It feels like maybe on your side you think that, or you feel like you're going to have to sacrifice in order to work with others, but that's not necessarily going to be the case. Lovers, the world, the seven of swords, the two of pentacles, the six of wands, the seven of cups, the devil, the hangman, judgment, the four of cups, the two of cups, the hierophant, the ten of swords, the chariot, the fool, the three of swords, the seven of pentacles. It feels like there's a little bit of a back and forth energy here. Like, oh, I'm going outside, I'm not going outside. Like, I can do this, oh, I'm scared. It's not necessarily bad. I do think it's, though, for you to be a little bit more fully committed, a little bit more wholly committed to something in your life. Not necessarily someone, but if it's a someone for you, then someone in your life. Eight of Wands into the Nine of Cups, into the Wheel of Fortune. Look at that 8, 9, 10. Watch the star be next. Oh, the 10 of Wands. There's another 10. Hopefully the starring after that. No, it's the Ace of Wands. So we're reducing that 10 of Wands to the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is this wand here. This is a flash of insight in an area related to something that you really want to do, that's wish fulfillment for you, that has the power to completely change the way you live life or the way you interact with the space. But it's going to require you to unburden yourself in some ways. This feels like self-burdens. It doesn't necessarily feel like other people. But you may perceive it as other people because it may be things that you think other people want from you. But that's not necessarily the case. This, though, feels like the fulfillment or the embarkation upon whatever this flash of insight is here. Here's the vision of the wand. Here's the actual wand. I think it could kind of sort of work either way. You can allow yourself to be burdened by it, or you can enjoy it and approach it with not necessarily a naivete, but with the idea that you're probably going to learn something or it's going to grow you in some way. Two of Swords, the Son of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. Into the Hermit, into the Sign of Pentacles, into the Sun. Okay, where is that star? There it is. I'm like, all right. I only got like 5 cards left. So the Three of Cups and the Sun. Man, y'all got the whole deck and the Sign of Pentacles. The S-O-N of Pentacles. The S-U-N. The Three of Cups. There's that. The Mother of Wands. Bottom of the deck is the Ten of Cups. The Daughter of Cups and the Mother of Wands. So Aquarius, this for you, it's carrying an energy. It's an energy of a boss. There's like a Queen of Swords energy here, but it's trying to soften up because it's realized what's made it so sort of cold or harsh. Like, it's okay to be blunt, it's okay to be to the point, but anything in excess isn't that great, and it feels like there's been an energy of excess that's caused the loss of some things. And these are 2 court cards. Again, 2 court cards of different suits, but they're same gendered, same sexed court cards. It feels like there's like a baby that you've been nurturing or growing. Oh, with the eggs. Maybe it's been an idea that you've had for a long time. And maybe you've done other things that may be like tangentially related to this idea, but not necessarily directly related. Maybe you've been acquiring contacts and resources. It's really that, like, that collective 11th house, like organizational 11th house energy, that aspect of Aquarius that is networking. You've been building a network. And I don't know if you've been burned in business before or if you know of people who have been burned in business. I think this, though, with the Sun and the Three of Cups backing the Star and the Ten of Cups over here, it's about finding people that you can trust, just like you would a babysitter, right? And when your kids get a little bit older, maybe the babysitter isn't as important. Or if you've had a babysitter for a while, it's not as important. But it's like the first time you leave your baby with someone else and you like really needing to trust that person. That's what it feels like here. It feels like you have all of the drive, you have the vision. I think I've talked about a vision in here. I don't remember. The Three of Wands, it was like your unique vision. But it was maybe a little bit difficult for you to hold that vision and collaborate with other people. This feels a little bit more like career for Aquarius, but it can also be relationships, and maybe you're the type of person that attracts a lot of people, or you're attracted to a lot of people that you hold some kind of difference with. And there are maybe certain things that are really important to you. Or it's like maybe you've attracted people that you agree with for the most part, but the things that are really core to you, you don't. I don't know. But this is about people that you can trust, finding people that you can trust and entrust the vision to build with you. It feels like you know like you're going to need that network. Maybe you already know people who are specializing in this. Maybe it's your job, or you're going to be asked because of your network to assist someone else with building out their vision. Maybe you don't necessarily see yourself as skilled enough to do that, or not necessarily having the network. But there's power in numbers. Strength in numbers, there's power in a community, in a unified community. And it's a unified community because it's a group of individuals who can get on the same page. It's not a unified community because everyone is exactly the same. The differences are going to be what's important again. And so maybe too, you tried to move forward in a certain arena. Maybe you didn't have a diversified enough group of mentors or board members or something. Because when I said that, like, if you gather four people from, like, or if you gather people from the different four corners of the earth, and if they all come to an agreement, then most of the earth is probably going to agree with it. There's strength and diversity here as well. And you may actually find, while you're out looking, that your baby has some extra parents or some extra godparents or people who will be willing to babysit for free, some more family. Because in the shadow here, in the star, you can see some of the, oh, there's blues and purples in here too. I've never noticed the blues and purples. But it's like you hold some of the colors and they hold some of the colors. It's going to be something that a lot of people can really get behind and pour into. And they want to see it grow. I don't know if you're the CEO of a company, or if you're pretty high up in the company, or if you're about to get some kind of promotion. But I see that responsibility in this Mother of Wands, of like being responsible for nurturing the growth of something. But at the same time, you're still maturing yourself in a very watery way. It feels like trusting people, maybe in business, maybe just in your day to day life, or opening up to people, not necessarily trusting people. This is definitely one of those instances where I want some more information. What card could I go to? Actually, I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to pull I'm going to stack these two on top of this. The Six of Swords and Temperance. Okay. The Six of Swords is a card of movement, typically from something more turbulent to something less turbulent. Temperance is asking you to understand that it may be a little rougher before it gets smoother. Just because it's this rough doesn't necessarily mean that you're on the wrong track. Maybe there's someone that you kind of sort of had a falling out with because you had different visions for this. Maybe you weren't really willing to listen to them and they weren't really willing to listen to you. But if you can incorporate like some of their ideas and your ideas, or if you can compromise, it reminds me of one of the I Chings that says that there's a king who comes up with a solution that neither party offered. That way they can't say that like the king favored them or the king didn't favor them. It's like the king didn't favor either one of them. So there could also be with the temperance, with the hair and here over the fire and the water, it could be an energy of needing to find a mediator, or maybe like marriage counseling if you're married potentially before you give up on your marriage. But it's like an unbiased third party would help you to see more eye to eye, even if it's in business. But temperance, again, it's about balancing a duality. So they're both important. And with the Six of Swords, it's going to be your key moving forward. So that's what I got for you, Aquarius. It's people that you can trust to see your vision. And because you trust them with your vision, you're less likely to maybe think that they're like trying to take over or that they're trying to sabotage. You can listen more fully to what they're saying. You can only get so far on your own. It takes a village to raise a child. And for what you're creating, it's like it's on the scale that it has the potential to be on. You need to have multiple opinions and perspectives because it's going to be something that exists in multiple spaces. And you can only see so much, you can only account for so much and accommodate for so much. Maybe there's an energy too of you needing to learn to take criticism constructively, especially constructive criticism. Maybe you got overly defensive, or you felt like your intelligence was attacked because the King of Swords was the first card out, which is like your energy. And that's not necessarily the case. And it's an opportunity to make you or the product or the idea better, or to make it more accommodating to a wider audience, or to make it more appealing, or to make it more competitive on the market. And if you're entering a market where there is no competition, it still needs to be appealing. People still gotta want it enough to buy it, even if no one else is doing it. And as I talked about looking for mentors or counselors, again, you need to be able to take some direction. You don't necessarily have to agree with it, but at least be like, listen to it. So for you, Aquarius, what's silently moving into place, in some element, again, it's you, because of this softening, because of this expanding, because of you learning to balance yourself and others, not to completely disregard what other people say, and not to completely disregard yourself and your own thought processes for the sake of collaboration. It should be both. And it ain't necessarily people like screaming and cussing and arguing with each other, but a healthy amount of debate is actually beneficial, because again, it's a space where perspectives and opportunities and circumstances that you may not think of can be brought up and illuminated. This is like think tank brainstorming type of energy as well. So it's partially other people moving into place, partially you moving into place. It feels like a collaborative movement when it comes to Aquarius. And that's what I got. I love that the music is winding down when I end these. I'm not doing it intentionally. But I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're having a better, whether you're having a good one or not, soon. And I hope that you are. I hope that you are. I hope you find people that you can trust with your vision. I hope you can find people that you can build with, especially if that's something that you're looking for. I hope you come across those who have something of value to offer, and I hope you're open to receiving it, because that may be related to you building whatever it is that you're manifesting. But again, the greater the scale, the more there is to take into consideration, and one person can only think of or do so much. So I'll catch y'all when I catch y'all, Aquarius. Got almost the whole deck, Aquarius. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Ten of Swords and the Ten of Cups. These two are related. A lot of times to get along with others, we have to get over ourselves partially. Or at least keep ourselves in check. And there's the Sun with the Ten of Cups. And also other people should do the same. Because that's, relationships are two-way streets. In the world! Ooh, that's a whole new chapter. It's a whole new way of doing things. It's a completion. Oops. Alright, Scorpio. Let me timestamp for Scorpio. I'll say 127:11. It's 3:14. It's pie time. Alright, Scorpio. Last but not least, it's your turn. Ooh, Three of Swords with the Father of Wands. No comment. The Ten of Pentacles with the Father of Wands. Okay. This is sunken treasure for Scorpio. But it's a sunken treasure that's a little bit hidden under some kind of deep, I want to say betrayal for some reason. Maybe because Scorpio can feel betrayed kind of easily. Or not easily, but it's really about loyalty with Scorpio. And you can betray Scorpio in ways that you ain't even know you was betraying Scorpio. But also I think it's for Scorpio to keep in mind that, not people got their own lives. I think Scorpio can be really empathic and sympathetic, but when it comes to their depths, it's almost like the deeper a Scorpio goes within itself, the less it allows for the depths of other people. And I think when Scorpio is in a good space, it understands that everyone has their stuff. And, whenever anyone gets triggered, we can be less understanding or considerate of others. But, I don't know, it's almost like as deep as you want someone to go with you, or something to strike with you or resonate with you, you also have to be as willing to, go that deep within them. Because that tie, that connection, that bond, it works both ways. And if you want them to go all the way down here with you, but you're all the way up here with them, it creates this bond that has a lot of tension in it. I don't know, Scorpio. Alright, I'll give it 3 more. Okay. Well, oh, gosh. Speaking of Scorpio feeling betrayed, there's the Seven of Swords. And last one. We're going to pull before and after the Death card, and then we're going to read all this for Scorpio. The Mother of Cups the Lovers, and the Nine of Pentacles. You can't be in a loving relationship and be guarded and isolationistic at the same time. You can't be in any kind of partnership and be so closed off and expect anything but difficulties. And then you may feel like someone's hiding something or you're not getting the full picture because maybe you're not even open to receiving it. Or if you're not giving it, then the connection isn't going to have that depth. And if you're resisting giving it, it's like a losing game. It's a game that like the other person is kind of sort of destined to lose because you're not being forthright with whatever it is that you want them to know. And just because your energy is one that's capable of understanding the subtleties of other people doesn't necessarily mean that other people should have to do the same for you. Because at the end of the day, if you want something, you should be able to speak up on it. And not it be, well, you should have just known. Should they have just known? In some ways, yes. But if they didn't, that's not good enough reason. Because you should have told somebody if you wanted them to know. I don't know. And the Son of Pentacles is like, oh, well, I can't just open it. That's going to be a process. Okay, well, then it's a process, girl. Ain't nobody in a rush. Hello? Daughter of Wands with the Ten of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. Oh, gosh. The Chariot, the Fool, the Three of Swords. Maybe you haven't experienced a lot of people that you can be that open with, that forthcoming with, who didn't use it against you at some point. But if you ever want, hey, look, there's a Death card. If you ever want different, you're going to have to approach it differently. So you got the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Swords, the Seven of Pentacles here. You already got the Seven of Swords and the Three of Cups. So yeah, this is an energy with the Wheel of Fortune. This is an energy of building a different type of interaction, or establishing a different sense of community, or a different sort of set of friends. And honestly, it's going to require honesty with the Ace of Swords. And it's going to require you, it's not like an honesty that someone can force from you either. Because with the Ace of Wands, it's also something that you desire. But it's time for you to come into the knowing that if you desire, if you want something, you're going to have to be willing to give it. I know I had a Scorpio buddy who is really self-conscious and insecure in some ways. And he told me about a dream he had one time where like he was upset because this girl wasn't talking to him or something. And like she didn't even do anything. And I remember he was talking about this other dude. It was a dude that I met over the summer that I worked with, so I knew him a little bit. And he was like, oh, that dude is so pretentious. Like he always come up and he talks like this and like that. And like it's just something about him that I don't like. And I'm like, well, ain't nothing wrong with this dude. Honestly, to me it read like that dude had a certain confidence within himself that my buddy didn't have, and he was kind of sort of threatened and intimidated by it. And so it made him feel some type of way that someone else who was so sure of themselves would do that. And like it's a lot of things in that way that can kind of sort of like, I think Scorpio can sometimes be an energy that's triggered easily because it spends so much time in the depths of itself. But other people aren't necessarily there. And so they're not always intentionally doing or saying something to put you back in that space where you're already sort of hurting or insecure anyway. That's your own insecurity that you're projecting out on the other people And it's causing these lose-lose games and situations that ultimately just keep you stuck. And I think that's one of the negative things that both Pisces and Scorpio kind of sort of share sometimes. Because Pisces can create these elaborate illusions in which people are doing or saying things that they're not necessarily doing, keeping themselves stuck in whatever position they're in. Scorpio, from all of its self-loathing or lack of self-love and acceptance, it will sort of sabotage or naturally align against some things that could sort of elevate it or that could validate it or bring it out of that. It's like Scorpio is committed to its depths. Pisces can be committed to its illusion. But this Ace of Swords is going to be what cuts you loose of this situation. With the Seven of Pentacles and the Three of Cups, there's this energy of things that are silently moving into place. For Scorpio, though, it feels like the things are already in place. You just need to be brave enough to accept them, or to begin that journey back to the surface. And you don't have to give up your depth, but that's no place to make a home either. There's a Taurian energy and a Cancerian energy here. It's like third decan Taurus and first decan Cancer, though. So it's like early, there's some camaraderie with Cancer. There's some harmonious relationships. In the middle is the fulcrum. And on the other side, it's that opposition with Taurus. And it's like a steady opposition because it's the Seven of Pentacles. Or it's a growing opposition. But I don't think it's necessarily on the other person or outside of you. It feels like it's more inside of you. And it's rooted in whatever that insecurity is. That's why in this card, the Wheel of Fortune, at the top of the card is the moon. At the bottom of the card is the sun. It feels like there's a sort of salvation maybe that you're reaching for, that you're aiming for. But again, that sunken treasure is buried deeper than your fear and your insecurity or your anxiety or worry or depression or whatever. And it does feel a little self-inflicted. If you suffer from like anxiety or depression to the point where it interferes with your like day-to-day life, maybe seek out a medical professional or a licensed professional in some way. There are some things that we may go through and experience that we can't necessarily work through on our own. But again, it's like you would have to reach the point in your own life where you no longer want to sort of be limited in that way. And I guess you would have to begin to experience something where you can see that, wow, like maybe I'm the one who's putting unnecessary burden and strain on this. And it's not to lead to any more self-loathing, but it's to lead to the realization that, hey, maybe you got some stuff that you need to take care of. Last time I read for Scorpio, I remember saying like Scorpio is an energy of the depths, of the deep. And that you can use, like, since that's your energy, you can pretty much handle some pretty gnarly stuff. But if other people are beginning to see it, or if it's beginning to spill out into other areas of your life, then maybe it's too much. And maybe it finally needs some addressing, rather than just that repression and suppression and those dark places that you visit when the sun goes down. And I remember my buddy would always say, it's sad time hours. And he would turn off the lights and start playing music that would make him cry. And I'm not like laughing at him or laughing at that. But again, it was like a bunch of stuff that he wasn't necessarily working through. And it wasn't all the time. but you know, he kind of sort of has an alcohol problem. I remember, man, because we used to go to the bars together. Not that I went to the bar super often. He's actually the reason why I got my brother's bar shirt. It was a Thursday. We went to my place for they had half price appetizers, and on Thursdays they had fishbowl Thursdays where you get like real big drinks for the price of regular drinks. And so we was there for the fish bowls and for some appetizers. And he was like, "Oh, the bar across the street at like 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever, they're gonna be giving away free shirts." And it was like 8 or 9. And I was like, I don't want to have to wait a whole hour just to get a shirt. But dude was already turned up. We ended up waiting to get the shirts. We're like, "Oh, and can I get my buddy a shirt?" And he was like, "Oh, he has to come and get his own." So we went back to get him, and he had another drink. Also, I kind of broke the law one time, and I accidentally bought him a drink when he was underage. I bought the drink for somebody who was of age. Our waitress didn't card us. She didn't want the drink. I bought people shots of tequila because I love tequila, and they was kind of expensive. I had just gotten paid, and I was like, "Shots of tequila on me. Anybody who want one, get one because I want a shot of tequila, and I like y'all, so I want to take a shot with y'all. So let me know who want a shot." She said she wanted the shot, but then she didn't take it, so he drank it. Coincidentally, that friend is the same one. It was the three of us that was at Jake's, and then we went over to Brothers to get that free shirt. But after that, it's like we're just not drink compatible. Cause if I'm drinking, I'm drinking. It's mostly social. I pretend like I'm drunk. I get like one or two or like five drinks, and then I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm drunk," cause it's fun. Or at least depending on the person, depending on the situation, it can be fun. But he's like a drink to get drunk type of person. And I remember one day he was supposed to take me home, and we stopped by the bar to get like one drink, like a small drink. And he started to drink too much, and I was like, "I'm not getting in a vehicle with you." And I walked home, and it wasn't that far. It was like maybe a 10 to 15-minute walk, but it was in the dark, and I can't see in the dark. But I was like, I'd rather take my own life into my own hands and try to make it back than put my life in your hands. And I was a little mad. I was upset because we had an agreement, but he was like, "Pat, like, why would I drink only one drink or two drinks? Like, I'm not going to get drunk off of that." Anyway, self medicating. That's another thing that that's like a Piscean trait. Pisces is a house of altered states of mind, especially involving substances. But for the most part, he was cool. It wasn't all the time that he was like that. But you could tell those moments when his image of himself impacted how he saw other people, number one, and how he thought other people saw him. Because I'm like, nobody is thinking this. I don't know. The cards that came out: Seven of Swords, the Two of Cups, and the Four of Cups. I mean, this is missing out on opportunities. Again, because of the image that you hold of yourself. It causes you to be reserved. You got the Two, the Three, and the Four of Cups. So that's some heavy Cancerian energy. He was a Cancer rising, Scorpio sign. I was like, "Oh, Scorpio and Cancer, that explains the sad time hours." I'm sorry. It was just, I don't know. Like, it was like sometimes he was like inviting it in. Like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." I don't know if he was already feeling like that. But I'm like, maybe he had to be feeling like that. Well, not necessarily. Maybe you just have one of those days where you want to turn off the lights and turn on some sad music. He was also kind of bummed because he was looking for a job. And I remember there was a job fair. He asked me if he could borrow my shoes. I was like, "Sure." Did I say that they were lucky? I think I gave him something for luck. He's actually the first person I read for, and I use these cards to do it too. He got the Seven of Pentacles because he asked me a question. And the Seven of Pentacles, when it came out for him, it was an energy of inheritance. It was something not great that it passed from generation to generation. And he had it. It had fallen to him, and he was being called to a space of breaking it or to liberating himself from it. But with that, it came with a little bit of an energy of opposition from his family or whoever that could have been like, oh, like, so you think you're better than us, or you think that you're blah, 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 whatever. And it's not necessarily that, but at the end of the day, if you're the only person that can do really anything in your life, who else is going to do it? It's not about being better. It's about you doing what you need to do for you to make your life better or more or what you want it to be. And just because you were born with it, or just because you acquired it, or just because with the Seven of Pentacles it's become part of your daily routine and habit, doesn't mean you have to continue doing it. This feels like love lost because of the lack of love for self. It feels like the manifestation of problems and issues that are almost non-existent, but it causes you to see something outside of you because of what is within you that you're not really handling or addressing. Like, this fox is awake, so it's not that you're not aware of that sword, but it's like you're not really doing anything to bring it to the light with the other six. And anytime you try to move on, it's like there's always something that's holding you back. Maybe you always think the other shoe was going to drop, or someone's out to get you or something. But again, with the Ace of Swords over here, you're going to begin to see it. That's what's going to get this Wheel of Fortune to move, because you're going to root yourself even deeper. Because deeper than the fear and the worry and anxiety lies the sun, lies that treasure, lies the truth. And until you can sort of integrate that truth, I think you'll continue to manifest these things outside of you. It's a heavy reading for Scorpio. But it's time to set yourself free. And with this Three of Cups, it feels like you do have a community. It feels like there are people in your life who, when you make that decision, look, there's the sun. There's the sun down there. There's a bird. Here's some birds. They could be owls. We don't know. It's dark. The shadows. Shout out to Scorpio coming out with the sevens while everybody else was getting the fives. Aquarius didn't get fives or sevens. I don't know. Anyway, it's like once you're ready, I feel like they're already there. And it's not anything that anyone outside of you can necessarily do for you either. They can be there to assist as much as you allow them to be, but you have to make it known. And there's this energy of like not denied, just delayed. Maybe you think you ruined something, but if someone really loves and cares for you, then they'll be there for you. Now that tough love is like, if you're going to continue to do this to yourself willingly and by choice, if you're not going to try to do any better or try to get help or utilize resources or seek resources, if this is a place and a state that you want to be in, I can't do anything for you. I still love you and care about you, but I'm not going to be here to enable you or watch you destroy your own life. And then you're like, why is this happening? It's like, well, why do you continue, like you keep driving yourself to this point? But when you're ready, I feel like they're there. And it feels like with the Seven of Pentacles, it could be people who also suffer similarly. Seven of Swords just fell on the floor. I'm not going to pick it up until I'm done, because that energy can go. We're not doing that anymore. Again, the Ace of Swords is here. You're free. As free as you want to be. Maybe they've also struggled similarly, or there's someone who's like there who can go through that process of recovery or whatever with you. And there's a little bit of a rehab energy. But in rehab, it's like, you leave everyone that you know and care about. You go to a facility where you may have limited contact, surrounded by strangers who are also in there with hopes to recover. At least, hopefully, the staff care somewhat about you, but it's like you're leaving everything you love. This feels like an energy of those who can be there with you through it. And depending on how you're structured and organized, you may think that, like, oh my gosh, I don't deserve it. What's this? The Eight of Cups? 5 plus 4 is 9. No, this is 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cups on the table between the 4 of Cups, the 2 of Cups, and the 3 of Cups. And I love the 2 of Cups and the 3 of Cups, 5 of Cups, because this is an energy of both a partner and of a community. Friends and loved ones and family. There to support you. But you have to be, like, you have to take the first steps. You have to be willing to do it yourself. There's a 9 of Cups energy of wish fulfillment. The Wheel of Fortune is here to completely turn everything on its head. With the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords, that's you getting that knowing and actually putting some action behind it. It feels also like not only are these people who can stick with you through the end, it also feels like seeds that you've already planted, but you weren't tending for. Maybe you think that they're dead, but as soon as you care for them, they'll spring back to life. Like, that's what a seed is designed to do. It protects that life until the conditions are favorable enough for it to grow. Not dead, just dormant. As soon as you care for it, it'll spring right back to life. Like what's like sea monkeys or whoever, like them little sponge things where you soak them in water and then they grow, like those little old dinosaurs or whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Oh, I'm gonna leave it in reverse because that's in the past, and that's the fulfillment. That's the 7 of Swords in this deck to me carries an energy of birth. What's the word, y'all? Birthright. It carries an energy of birthright, and it's given to us once we're deserving of it. So now, that's what I got for you, Scorpio. I wish you the best. I know that life can be rough, and when you're a Scorpio, it can be even harder. Just because maybe a lot of those things, they just hit deeper, or they hit in a different way. Like, we all have our own, like, internal traumas and deep-rooted issues, but it's like Scorpio is an energy that, since it is kind of sort of based down there, it's a lot more susceptible or raw or sensitive. And the like, some people may not think that Scorpio is as sensitive as it is because of how it shows up in the world, but it's still a water sign. Your Piscean brothers and sisters know. Your Cancerian ones might know too, maybe. I think Cancer would know, but Cancer has their own stuff. So Cancer might enter a competition. Like, oh, Scorpio, I have it worse than you. If anyone here deserves to cry, it's me. Pisces is like, I'll just cry with you. We ain't got to make it a competition. We could just both be in the dumps. I'm just playing. Also, with that 3 of Cups, there is an energy of whatever you bring to the table is the company that you're going to attract. It's that energy of misery loves company. And so if you're cultivating misery with that 7 of Pentacles, you're going to attract more in your life. Or you're going to attract more people who validate that misery. Or you're going to attract more situations that prove all of your insecurities and worst nightmares to you. It'll make it as if it's true, but it's not really. That's just the casting call that you're putting out. So if you get actors who come and they play that role, then they're playing that role because, you're the one who wrote the script. They're just trying to fulfill the part. Wheel of Fortune, flip the script. What's that? Was it a Sprint commercial? It's like, they're like, there are so many people who try to flip the script, but we say, script the flip. And maybe with that Wheel of Fortune, And that Ace of Wands, the flip was scripted. Maybe the divine has been, maybe you asked for something that gave the divine permission to set you on a course to really change things. And it may feel like it was scripted because it's like all of a sudden I'm meeting this person and that person and all these people who are like validating me rather than the type of people that I was meeting before that continue to put me down. Like, what's happening? It's the scripted flip. But you asked for it. Now you have to do your part in order for the show to go on. Bottom of the deck is the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands with the Eight of Swords. I feel like that's you maybe not being. I think maybe it's more in the past. It could be in the present. It's you not seeing how you're actually burdening yourself and how you're not intentionally, but how you've made what was supposed to be a bright space darker because of the overgrowth of your own insecurities or anxieties or worries. It's darkened this space. But if you can cut through the weeds, and I mean, you had the Ace of Wands, which could be a flamethrower, and the Ace of Swords, which is the machete. Like, you can cut through this and get to the light, Scorpio. And you deserve it. Goodness. Gosh, like, love yourself a little bit. Ten of Pentacles, right beyond, the Ten of Wands. If you cut through it, and it's like you can see it, you can feel it, but you're like, man, why ain't this working out? Ain't nobody loyal. First, we got to be loyal to ourselves. And when we're being loyal to ourselves, it ain't that kind of loyalty where it's like, enabling. If we being loyal to ourselves, we're also being real with ourselves. Like, hey, you need to cut this out. You need to stop doing this. You need to stop doing that. It ain't about making yourself feel bad or whatever, but if you want to get better, you got to start doing better. And you got to be committed to it. And it's not that you can't have a cheat day here or there, but on the overall, again, you're the only person who can do that for you. Other people can help and assist, but the decision, the choice, the power is yours. Sorry. All right, I'm going to timestamp fixed signs now. We're moving on to close this out. Fixed signs 157.50. All right, fixed signs. Let's see. Y'all might take the crown from the mutable signs. Maybe not. That song has been in my head this whole time. Was in the summertime, the lifting is easy. It's the mailman singing about how, during the summer, being a mailman ain't that hard. But in the wintertime, not only do you got to fight the ice and snow, but everybody sending letters to Santa. Everybody getting their Christmas catalogs. Everybody sending their Christmas cards. Everybody sending gifts and presents. And it's like the workload gets unbearable. So if Christmas is canceled, I'm going to celebrate. Because not only did Santa Claus not give me what I wanted when I was a kid, but also now I ain't got to work as hard. And then he worked. So what's so interesting about that movie to me is that even though the villain didn't believe in the hero, the villain still did everything they could to stop the hero. And it's like, well, if you don't believe me, if you don't believe in me, then why are you working so hard to hold me down, to keep me back, to keep me suppressed? If you don't think I'm worthy or capable of anything, you wouldn't be trying this hard. Who did? The Two of Wands. It's almost like a keep your friends but your enemies closer type of vibe. It's not necessarily that you're doing it intentionally. But it's almost like those who are aligned against you maybe it's qualities that you exhibit that they don't like because they couldn't find it for themselves. So it's not whether they believe in you or not. It's the fact that you haven't given up in a situation that you should have. And it's like, how dare you believe in yourself or be confident enough, or not even confident enough? How dare you be courageous enough or brave enough to continue to go after what it is that you want, even though we all know that you're going to fail? You should just give up like the rest of us. And so they work extra hard to try to break your spirit. It's not necessarily whether they believe in you or not. But you're a fixed sign. You keep the vision. Hopefully. Maybe. The Mother of Swords. And what else? I want one more. Well, let me talk about the Mother of Swords. The Mother of Swords is Libran energy. It's cardinal air. This energy is interesting because what popped into my mind, it's that pre-justice energy that's trying to make a ruling in a case for which there is no precedent. Now, justice, major arcana justice, would be able to rule justly no matter what. Because if anything supersedes earthly or local laws, there's also cosmic laws. And justice rules more in cosmic law anyway. But with this Mother of Swords, it's like, well, there's no precedent for this. Like, I've studied everything that I've studied. None of the pre-existing laws necessarily apply to the situation. What are they being charged of again? Okay. And you said, like, what? Like, what's the evidence again? Alright. Like, is this bad? Is this right? Is this wrong? Do they have a case? Should I even hear this case? There's something here about... And the Two of Wands is here. So the Two of Wands is entering new territory. Breaking new ground. Not even fully in it. The Three of Wands is once you're in it a little bit more, and then you're like, hey, like, where do I go? I've gone as far as I can go. It's like the Seeker. This is the Initiate. The Three of Wands is the Seeker. The Keeper lies beyond. The Mother of Swords almost doesn't have... Like, there's no precedent. You're setting the precedent right now. We're in a position, fixed signs. Maybe we were stubborn. Maybe we were stuck in our ways in a lot of ways. But we're coming into a new space for which we don't have a precedent. And maybe we're like, well, do I continue to hold on to like the things that I used to believe, even though they don't really apply? It's time for fixed energy to grow. What? Is that the Ace of Pentacles coming out on the side? That's a challenge. With the Empress and the Hermit. You're setting a new precedent. I think the Ace of Pentacles is the confirmation of entering a new space. With the Empress and the Hermit, I think that's the space of questioning. Of how do you interact and how do you engage with this space? Everything that came before you had an idea of. Maybe now you're realizing that the ideas that you had before was, primarily based upon what you were experiencing before, but now that your experience are changing or shifting, then that fixed energy, those perspectives don't necessarily hold. I think this Hermit, with the Hermit and the Empress, it's time for you to connect to your deeper, more internal truth. Like I said, the Mother of Swords is pre-justice energy. Justice deals in cosmic law. You're finding your own justice within you that can still make sound and reasonable judgment, even in a space that you don't have an awareness of, or that your code or system of laws don't account for. This is finding that space. This is tapping into that space, which is a fertile ground. Also, too, comes this sort of inherent understanding that once you break ground here, it's going to open you up to a whole slew of new experiences. So get used to it. Okay. And I think that's where I'm going to end this. I'm not going to pull anymore. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Cups. It's a whole new emotional experience. It's a whole new connective experience. Your life is going to be different. The way you relate to everything is going to be different. And Spirit is always there to help you. I will, though, pull around the world. Oh, look. Ace of Swords and the Six of Swords after that Ace of Cups. That's moving forward. It's making that decision to move forward. With the Chariot after that Two of Swords. Eight of Swords ain't here. We ain't trapped no more. We're moving forward. Wheel of Fortune. Judgment. Look at that. Look at it. I love that energy. If you are on the Eight of Swords path, though, however, you get the Four of Swords and the Daughter of Swords, which is playing it small. It's more incremental, step by step. I think eventually you'll get there. With the Six of Wands, you'll claim victory eventually, and you'll still end up in that pretty good position with the Ten of Pentacles. It's just a slower path because it's a little less trusting. I mean, like, this isn't major arcana energy, but you still get there in the end. So, you know, and like, it's not necessarily completely Two of Swords or completely Eight of Swords. The two then shifted to a one somehow. One is cardinal. So it's really about, you know, and the Chariot is my cardinal significator card. Because in the SKT, it's depicted with all the cardinal signs. So it's time to move. Taurus know what I'm talking about, right, Taurus? It's time to move. Where'd that Chariot go? It was the Two of Swords into the Chariot. There it is. It's making that decision to move forward, regardless. The Hierophant and the Fool. Some things you keep, some things you do new. Wait, is the World on the table? No, it's right here. So the Five of Pentacles and Temperance. Sorry, the Five of Cups and Temperance is around the World card. There are certain choices and decisions that will keep you stuck, keep you manifesting what you've always been manifesting. There are other choices and decisions that move you forward. It's the balance between the old and the new. And the Heron is Spirit, which is watching over you. You can collaborate and communicate with Spirit. I don't know if Spirit is necessarily in a space of giving you answers, but they will try to help guide you to your answer, to your internal truth. That's what I got for the fixed signs. Now I'm going to get the final messages. Y'all know I do that. Shuffle all this out. Put these back. I kind of wanted to go live today, but this recording has taken long enough that I don't really. But in my own personal life, I talked about it at the beginning of the video. I'm noticing lots of things shifting and changing. I am a-okay to leave home. There's no reason for me to stay anymore. I was a little bit worried about the folks here, but the last 3 days, first it was my mom, then it was my brother, today it was my dad, and they're okay. They'll be all right. Also, oh look, see, there's that Chariot. That's what I was talking about. See, it has the Ram for Aries, the Crab for Cancer, the Ghost for Libra, and then the Goat for Capricorn. Cardinal signs, that number one. Also, I got a new spirit animal, apparently. It's just been popping up. My cousin did a Facebook thing. It said she was an emu. Or an emu. I did it. It said I was a puma. And then the next day, I'm seeing videos on YouTube about puma. Last night, I saw something about puma. So I was like, let me look up what the puma spirit animal is. Did y'all hear the police sirens just drive by? Or the sirens? Well, there's a hospital down the street, so maybe it was an ambulance. But like as soon as the music started buffering, they drove by. It was like, we interrupt your regularly scheduled chill lounge music to bring you sirens. And now the music has resumed. Buffering over. Okay. Was that about the pumas? I don't know. Bobcats, ligers and tigers and lions. Sabertooths. What's another cat? Tabbies. Calico. Siamese. Are they still called Siamese cats? Do they come from Siam? I don't know. Persian. Those are the hairless ones, right? The Holy See. What's at the top of the deck? The Mason. Bottom of the deck is the Necromancer. Hierophant energy does have things to offer us. No energy is completely negative. So today, or moving forward, Hierophant is going to begin collaborating with us rather than subjugating us. And it's a revival of what Hierophant energy was supposed to be with this Necromancer. Maybe the clergy and the churches, they went a little power hungry, you know, in the Middle Ages or whenever the church came into power in like Europe. And maybe, there are some spiritual folks. Well, I think the shamans and stuff, maybe they kept getting persecuted, but it's like a shaman holiday. Hey, they ain't no longer going after the mystical people. It's our time. But it's coming back into a space of collaboration rather than control. And now that Two of Cups is showing up. All right. With the Fool, this is something brand new. I'm liking it. Two of Swords. It's where the sun and the moon meet. It's that eclipse in this deck. It's decisions made from the heart, and it's actions that come from the heart. And actions always sort of come from the heart, But it's a higher space now. So, final message from the wild unknown. I'm loving how you're shuffling. One more. Ten of Wands with that Two of Cups. I think any Two of Cups situation can be a burden. But when you love something or someone, it's not. You can do all the... Did it just end? Did this just end? It's not buffering. No, because it would have automatically moved on to play the next thing. I don't know what's happening with the music. It's not a burden, though, when you love someone. Or something. There it is again. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Maybe I said something important, so the music stops. And the Explorer has been coming out lately. An unbalanced Explorer energy can be when we're not willing to make a sacrifice in the moment to do what we need to do because we don't want to risk our freedom or whatever. But not making that sacrifice in the moment causes us to pay a much higher price later. But with that Two of Cups and the Ten of Wands, love will do what it needs to do in the moment. Love won't wait. Because you might lose it in the end. If you don't do what's needed or what's necessary. Okay. So, final message from the wild unknown. Whenever something hit the table is when I messed up. There we go. Oop, okay. Let's keep it under control. Bottom of the deck is the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands in this deck speaks of a lack of focus. Maybe too much stuff going on. Maybe we want to do too much. The cards that came out, the Mother of Wands and the Son of Pentacles. This is a focusing energy. This is us again. It goes back to the things like Courage the Cowardly Dog said, the things I do for love. You can see the Mother of Wands guarding those eggs. The Son of Pentacles is out doing what he needs to do. This carries an energy of a younger, maybe teenage couple who have a kid before they're really ready. But the father goes to work. He gets a job to provide for his family, and then the mother takes care of herself and the baby. It's reminding me of what's that movie I just watched? It didn't work. The song kept playing over and over and over and over. My buddy was getting annoyed. And I was like, if I had to listen to that too, I would be annoyed. But another part of me was like, well, why don't you just mute it? What was that movie? They dressed up with doll faces. They were cheerleaders. There was the girl. I don't remember. Sugar and Spice. I believe it's called Sugar and Spice. I was like, come on. Let me see. Hey Siri, what is Sugar and Spice, the movie?
Here are movies matching sugar and spice. Sugar and Spice. And a sugar and spice holiday.
Yep, this is the one. It's Sugar and Spice. When Diane, the captain of the cheerleading squad, becomes pregnant by Jack, the football team's star quarterback, the two teens are thrown out of their respective homes. After moving into an apartment together, they try to live on Jack's part-time salary as a video store clerk. Meanwhile, Diane and Jack continue in school, cheerleading and quarterbacking. Realizing that she and Jack are not making it financially, Diane recruits the other cheerleaders to help her make ends meet. It's a little bit of that energy. And so this lack of focus, it's a naivete. It's like you're young and naive, but all you need is love to make this work. And some help with the divine. You need is love and help with the divine, and it'll work out. All of the answers don't need to be there. You don't need to know everything. Just show up and do your best. But show up first and foremost. Do your best, secondly, and be open to growing. Maybe don't do things as drastic and crazy as they did in the movie, potentially. I don't think Spirit will have you in a position where you gotta do that. And also, maybe you're not actual teenagers. It's that approach with life and with what you're coming into. It's a whole new way to do a lot of things. And love, it kind of sort of changes you. It makes you better. You become a better version of yourself because you care about the person and you care about yourself. And a love with no accountability can spoil real quick. What's under this? The Eight of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune. You may not see how things are going to turn around and change. Maybe there is a lot of I know financial constraints came out recently. It came out for one of the piles. It was the Pentacles heavy one, I think. When I did the Sun, the Moon, and the Stars. You may not see how it's going to work out, but it will. Again, if you show up and do your best in the moment, the divine will take care of the rest. Top of the deck is the Hierophant. Aww. The Hierophant speaks of commitments. Don't give up. It'll work out. It'll work out. And then you'll have stories to tell when you get older or something. I don't know. That could be you with you also. Maybe you're the type of person that gives up on yourself really easily. Maybe you're a Scorpio. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Everybody can do that. It ain't exclusive to Scorpio by far. We all got our own shadows. But it's maybe you don't go after the things that you could go after because you don't think that you're worth it, or it's too risky and you'd rather play it safe. But nothing in life is guaranteed. Everything comes with a risk. So why not take the risk on something that you actually want to do or something that you actually love? I remember a long time ago, it was almost a year ago, maybe last April, I started to get the message that, life is a struggle regardless, and it's going to be difficult regardless. So I think it was coming out with the Seven of Wands. But I'd rather struggle working towards something that I love or that I care about or that I appreciate rather than struggle for a life that is me doing less than settling. And maybe that's something I need to remember a little bit, especially coming into these new spaces that we're going to be coming into, in which, again, there is no real precedent for anything. But we're setting the precedent as we show up in the space. The choices and decisions that we're making now set the precedent for the future. So that's what I got for y'all. I hope y'all collectively have a good whatever. Whenever you see this, I hope you do better, even if you're not doing good now. And I hope you're acting in alignment to make that what you wish to experience your reality. I hope you find the courage and the bravery to face all that you need to face, to go where you want to go, to be who you want to be, and to do what you need to do. And with that, I bid you all adieu.